Good evening. Good evening. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Hope everybody is doing well. Put this down a little bit. There we go. Hope everybody is doing well. Ooh, good evening. Good evening. Hope everybody's doing well. We're looking to do just a basic Q&A, a basic occultism, esotericism, mysticism, magic, witchcraft, sorcery, divination Q&A. So if you have any questions about the occult, the esoteric, or the mystic, please do put them in the chat. I will do my best to answer. If you're not familiar with me or my content, I am the Mystical Rebel, and I have been an initiated occultist for 22 years. And here on this channel, what I do is I fight against and correct the lies, the misinformation, and the deception put out by the New Age, the paranormal, and the occult conspiracy communities. And I do this by utilizing esoteric and occult wisdom, knowledge, philosophy, and in some cases, theology. So please do put your questions in the chat. Have you ever met an angel? I've evoked an angel. I don't know what you mean by meet an angel, but I've evoked an angel. Yes. I do practice grimoire tradition. And within grimoire tradition, one of the main focal points is initiation of contact with a otherworldly entity, be it angel, demon, planetary, aerial, zodiacal, elemental, spherical, aerial, whatever. So yes, I guess in that way, if you mean, have I met an angel? Yes, in that way, I have. Angels are worked with quite often. I mean, technically, I've got the 7 planetary angels right here. Their 7 sigils are all hanging right there. How did you choose your practice? I don't think I chose it. I think it came to me. I didn't go looking for it. It came to me. Cool. Was it a positive experience? Yes. I don't think I've ever had a negative experience with an angel. At least in the way that you're probably thinking. There are times where I don't hear what I want to hear, right? Or I don't get the answer that I want. But I don't view that as negative. Yes, I would say all of my experiences with celestial beings have been positive. Do you know about the black cube of Saturn? I've heard of it, but no, I'm not familiar. Can you time travel? No. We are human beings with all the shortcomings of being a human being. So this isn't a movie. This is real life. I look tired? No, I'm good. I'm Gucci Mane. I am that other thing, God's green herbology, but not tired. Moving through space is time traveling. Yeah, that's not what you meant, though. You meant the colloquial. You know what you meant. You're trying to play the semantics game. You know exactly what you meant. Everyone else knows what you meant. When you go out into the street and say to the average person, can you time travel? They're not going to assume that you mean just moving around because you're moving through space. Therefore, you're time traveling. That's not what you meant. You know what you meant. And that's what we're going to go with. Why is the New Age trash? Is it the empaths, light workers, and YouTube teenage ghost hunters? For the most part, yes. I really don't have any issue with empaths because that's not really a system or a tradition. But yes, the light workers are certainly an issue. The YouTube teenage or even adult. I've not really come across any teenagers that do ghost hunting. It's all adults that I've come across. But yes, that is a main issue. The New Age is trash because they are teaching, promoting, profiting off of extremely watered down methodologies that come from actual occult, esoteric, and mystical practices. But it's watered down to the point where even the people promoting it, even the people who claim to be gurus of it and masters of it, have no idea that it's a derivative of a derivative, right? There's no references back to the source. Therefore, they don't know that there is a source. They think that theirs is the source. But when you start asking foundational questions, they start stumbling, right? That's when you get blocked. That's when you get muted. That's when, they ignore your questions. So I was listening to The Divine Pymander of Hermes yesterday. Incredible read. Yes, it is an incredible read. What did you enjoy about it? What did you enjoy? Happy early 420. Yes, happy early 420. I will be celebrating. There's a festival in my state for it. So my girlfriend, my sister, one of my best friends, my other best friend is going to have his daughter, so he won't be able to attend. And myself, we're going to be attending tomorrow. So, indeed, happy early 420. Excuse me. Can you describe to me invocation? I've been thinking about doing it. It's simply using your Vocis Magicae to draw a spirit, usually a deity, but I guess technically any kind of spirit, into one's space or into oneself in an attempt at a super 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 mild form of possession. That's really all it is. Good evening. What's up, Issa? Welcome. Glad you're here. Welcome to the stream. I was thinking we are not going out like this, and then an ad ran with those exact words. Interesting. How do you make a deal with the devil? You don't. And what does he have the power to do? Well, if you mean the devil in like traditional witchcraft, he has the power to pretty much do whatever you need him to do. Obviously within human bounds, right? You're not going to fly, you're not going to teleport, you're not going to levitate, you're not going to throw fireballs, right? Things that are within physical human reason. What's your experience with astral projection? I don't prefer astral projection. I prefer shamanic journeying as my method of astral travel. But what do you mean? What is your experience? Either you've done it or you haven't. You got to be a bit more specific. Like, are you asking, have I been to certain or specific realms or worlds or what? There's only two things with astral projection. You do it or you don't. And I have done it, so I'm not exactly sure how to answer your question about my experience with astral projection, since there's only two possible options. I was able to find truth in comparison to the Nag Hammadi story and the Torah. Well, I don't know much about the Torah in terms of like philosophy, but I am familiar with the Nag Hammadi, and I don't know. I feel like the Nag Hammadi can be a good companion, a good supplement to someone's Hermetic or Abrahamic or Greek or Egyptian or Mediterranean based religion. But that's really about it. Thoughts on Stephen Skinner? I'm a huge fan of Stephen Skinner. We were reading from Stephen Skinner the other day. Wednesday night, we were reading from Stephen Skinner. His Techniques of Greco-Egyptian Magic. We were reading from that live. So I'm a huge fan. Like the live if you're deciding to watch it. It's called Show and Love. Thank you, Echoes Echo. Appreciate that. It's all the same story. Yeah, I mean, you're pretty much going to find that with most religions that come from the same region of the world. Not all of them, but you got religions that come from China and its surrounding nations. You're probably going to have similarities, right? The religions that come out of India, right? You're going to have similarities. So Gnosticism, Hermeticism, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, they come from the Mediterranean type areas. And so there's going to be similarities within them. What do you know about Abraxas? Not much. I do not know much about Abraxas. What were the dark beings that infiltrated ancient Atlantis? I'm an occultist, not a New Ager. Atlantis was not a thing. Can you explain what invisible beings are? All non-corporeal beings are invisible, so I don't know how to answer that. You'd be asking me to explain what angels are, what demons are, what the dead are, what the elementals are, the aerial spirits, the zygal spirits, the spherical spirits, the fixed stars, planetary spirits. I don't know what you mean by that. Yes, what worlds or realms have you been? Like, what do people usually do in those realms? Well, that's up to whatever your goal is. I mainly frequent the upper world, the middle world, and the underworld, or the lower world, being that I'm trained in shamanic journeying. And I go there for various reasons. I go there for spirit guide contact. I go there for soul retrievals. I go there for totem or power animal work. I go there for shadow work. I go there to commune with ancestors on a more intimate level. There's various reasons why one would need to venture to these realms. I saw invisible beings during astral and it scared me to never do it again. What do you mean you saw invisible beings? Can you elaborate on how you were able to see something that's unseen? Are there others that you'd recommend that work similarly to Dr. Skinner? David Rankine, Aaron Leach, Joseph C. Lysiewski. He's probably dead now, though, but his books are still great. Frater Acker, Frater Ashton Chashan. That's all I can think of, at least from Western occultism, Western ceremonialism, off the top of my head. Maybe like a Jake Stratton Kent, but he's less ceremonial, more folk, mixing folk with ceremonialism. It talks about the 70 nations all being permitted to receive light from their practice in the Zohar. Interesting. Have you come across any Hermetic writings on alcohol? I mean, like outside of alchemy? No. Wait, so the teachings of Thoth in the Emerald Tablets is not occult teachings? Well, no. Because number one, that would presuppose that there are Emerald Tablets and that those Emerald Tablets are of Thoth. There are no Emerald Tablets. There is a single Emerald Tablet. At least the one that people are talking about when it comes to Hermeticism. That's not to say that there aren't other tablets that were written on emerald, but there's only one Emerald Tablet that is attributed to Hermes Trismegistus. There is no Emerald Tablet attributed to Thoth. So the Emerald Tablets of Thoth are nonsense. Dr. Doriel was not a doctor, and he never went to Egypt. His wife exposed him when they got a divorce and proved it all by releasing his passport. He never left the country, let alone went to Egypt to channel Ra in the Great Pyramid or whatever. All of that is nonsense. So, no, not at all. Does every dead person go to the underworld? So I don't follow Greek religion. I'm a Hermeticist, which is Greco-Egyptian. And it's more Egyptian than it is Greek. So no, the underworld is not a place for human souls. Humans are to ascend upward, or they'll wander, or they'll come back through reincarnation. You said the name so fast, but I wrote what I could. What I would recommend is looking at, so a good trick is, well, not a trick. This is common knowledge outside of the occult. But if you're interested in similar authors, don't just go on Amazon and like look at what the AI recommends. Look at the publishing company that Stephen Skinner publishes his books through. And don't go to the publishing company because he owns his own. But Google the publishing company and see what other publishers come up and click on them and see what authors they recommend. Look at some popular occult publishers like Wiser. Wiser is a really good popular occult publisher that hasn't really crossed into the mainstream yet, even though they probably have about as many books as like a Llewellyn, which is mainstream, and see who's publishing through there alongside of Stephen Skinner. Take a look at other publishing companies that are on the artisanal side. While their books might be very expensive, you can at least learn about other authors from them. So that are on the artisanal side. While their books might be very expensive, you can at least learn about other authors from them. So, sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened. It said my live was like frozen or something, John. That was lame. Hold on, let me switch. There we go. Let me switch it back to the circle. Oops. There we go. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. It like froze up. But yeah, that's what I would recommend for finding other authors. Saint Austerbury. I don't know who that is or what that is. Saint Austerbury. Not familiar. Pharmakia. Tomorrow. Pharmakia. What are your opinions on calling traditions folk? Apparently, it's all the rage of being racist. What now? Why? Wait, what? People are saying calling traditions folk racist? In the occult, you either have a folk tradition, or you have a ceremonial tradition, or you have a fusion of the two. What? I don't. Why would that be racist? I don't understand. The Emerald Tablets of Thoth are basically an initiation into Kabbalah, but very watered down. Interesting. I don't know enough about Kabbalah. I mean, I want to doubt that because the Emerald Tablets of Thoth are not real. They're not a real thing that was completely made up by Doriel. But I don't know enough about Kabbalah. What do you think of Jesus Christ occult-wise? I think he was a major prophet. I think he did a lot of miracles. I think he did fantastic things. But I do not believe he was the Son of God. I can agree that he was a Son of God, one of many. But I do not, and daughters, but I do not believe he was the Son of God. What are the three initiates regarding the Emerald Tablets? That related? No. I think you mean the three initiates for the Kabbalion, and the Kabbalion's not real either. That was not written by three initiates. It was written by William Walker Atkinson. I have 2 or 3 videos on this, on the nonsense of the Kabbalion. And you don't have to believe me. There are even editions of the Kabbalion that don't have the 3 initiates on it. Instead, it just has William Walker Atkinson because he is the author. And like many New Age authors, he wrote under several pseudonyms. And his main 3 were Yogi Ramachakra, Magnus Incognito, and Theron Q. Dumont, hence the three initiates. But there were no three initiates. It was one person. He was friends with the CEO of the Yogi Masonic Publication Society, which is the company that published the Kabbalion. Because his other books, if you look up Magnus Incognito or Theron Q. Dumont or Yogi Ramachakra, you'll find other publishers that published those texts. So he was trying to find a new publisher, and he was friends with the CEO of the Yogi Masonic Publication Society, and so they went with him in order to publish the Kabbalion. They were such close friends that he was given an honorary president seat at the Yogi Masonic Publication Society. So there is no Kabbalion. There is no Emerald Tablets of Thoth. These are all BS. Made up. Wandering is the attribute of the children of the fallen whose souls had no place created for them. According to what? Is the publisher Golden Horde? For Stephen Skinner, yes. I believe that's the name of his publishing company, yes. Hey, Sybil. What's up? Thank you for the tiny dino. You mentioned that human souls may wander. Any books that you can recommend that talk about this? You would have to read the Hermetic text. You'd have to read the Hermetic text. So I start with the Corpus Hermeticum. Mercury's in Gatorade. Yeah, I know. It's not affecting me in any way. I don't know. Everything on my side is great. I mean, I did have a nail in my rear tire. I had to get that plug. Cost me $20. Oh, wah. Other than that, my side of the fence has been great. But then again, I practice magic. My girlfriend, on the other hand, her week has been absolutely thrown to shit. So she's not having a good time. Yeah, I guess people are trying to use ancestral lineage as a way to keep others out of folk practices. Interesting. I mean, that's kind of how it's always been. So, I mean, that doesn't really surprise me. But, my response to that is the same as it's always been. It's up to the spirits to accept people, not up to people to accept people, right? Hey, thank you very much for the heart. Mary, thank you very much. Appreciate that. But yeah, it's up to the spirits to accept people. I know plenty of white people that are involved in legitimate voodoo houses. They are initiated into legitimate voodoo houses. Jean Kent, who just passed away a couple years ago, a Haitian voodoo song, initiated both Rocky Geese and Brother Moloch into his house, to the point where they both have ventured out to start their own houses. Rocky Geese is now the Hunganaswoge of his own associate, right? And he has legitimate licentia. So it's up to the spirits, right? Nikolaj de Matos Frisvold is from Poland or somewhere up there, somewhere in North Europe. But he moved down to Brazil, and he's been there for like 30 years. So this isn't just some fly-by-night thing. He's been there for like 30 years. And he is involved in almost any ADR that you can think of. Legitimately, right? I mean, he moved to Brazil, right? He didn't go to some guy in LA, the back alleys of New York City, right? He went to the source and received initiation into Kimbanda, into Umbanda, into Santeria, into Pelo Meombe, into Bonteon de Vigion. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel that it's up to the spirits to determine whether or not a person is worthy. It's not up to other people. If the spirits accept them, we should accept them. I made it to the live. Hey, what's the name of the banishing that you perform? The one that I prefer is the Adjuration of Metatron. I have a video on it. I think it's called Banishing Spirits. Yeah. And it outlines the whole ritual. So The validity of the book being the tablet is false, no doubt. It is false. It's false. Hey, I hope everyone's having a great night. Well, thank you, Sybil. I hope you're having a great night. And I love your new hair. I think I told you that earlier, but I love the hair. Mainly because I don't have any. No, I'm kidding. Just joshing. You can call me Joshua because I'm joshing. That was a dad joke, even though I'm not a father. Do you believe Jesus sits on the right side of the Father in heaven? I do not. I do not. I do not believe that the Logos and Jesus are equated. But your Bible says that's okay, right? Your Bible says it's okay to deny the Son as long as you do not deny the Holy Spirit. I think that's in Matthew. Do you already read that? Any point in reading the Kabbalion? Not in my opinion. I mean, you're free to do as you will, but no, in my opinion, there's no point to read the Kabbalion. If you're looking for Hermetic principles, read Hermetic literature. What? Yeah, you got to read Hermetic literature in order to get Hermetic information. So I would go right to the source. I would go right to the corpus, the Stobaean fragments, definitions on initiations, stuff like that. Actual Hermetic texts. Are you well versed in the Kabbalah? I am not. I am a Hermeticist. I study and practice Hermeticism. So every time my partner has received bad news, before he does, I feel extremely dark and hopeless with no prompt. Interesting. Are you asking, does that make you a witch or something like that? Or, because I would say not. You look familiar, but I don't know anybody with your name. You look very familiar. Do you know what that phenomenon is? No. You could just be connected. You know how some people are so in tune with each other. It could just be something like that. I don't think there's any magical thing behind it. It could just be you guys are in tune. I just don't get how that equals to racism then. It just sounds like a white person mad. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. Everything is racist. And you want to know what's funny? I've actually, in the 22 years that I've been practicing occultism, right? The occultism that I practice is considered white, right? Even though Egypt is in Africa, right? It's considered white. Right? Grimoire tradition, shamanism, witchcraft, these are considered white, right? Yet in the 22 years that I've been practicing, I've never had any sort of racial encounter with anyone white from any of these traditions. They've never once told me I can't learn this, they're not going to teach me because of my skin color, and I need to go and find voodoo or hoodoo or something like that. I've never had that. Instead, it's been the exact opposite. It's been my own who try to tell me what I can and can't do and can't practice. It's been very interesting. What do you think of Aleister Crowley? I don't think of Crowley pretty much at all. And I truly believe most occultists who aren't Thelemites or who aren't members of the OTO don't think of Crowley. Crowley is really only super popular in the conspiracy world, so outside of the occult. Most occultists are not Thelemites, they're not OTO members. We might recognize the contributions Crowley made to the occult. We might utilize a lot, I don't, but in the occults, at least in the West as a whole, his rituals that he popularized might be utilized. But you'll find if you were to venture into an occult community, right? Like say on Reddit or on, you find some occult forum or you join three or four occult discords. There's going to be very little talk of Crowley other than questions like that. Like, what do you think of Crowley? Other than that, unless it's a Thelema community or an OTO community, people are not going to be talking about Crowley. He's only popular to the conspiracy theorists, right? The people who think that celebrities are selling their soul and all this other nonsense. Oh, it all goes back to Crowley. Aleister Crowley said in this book. Outside of that, Crowley's not popular. So I don't think about Crowley. I don't really have any thoughts about Crowley. I don't care for Crowley. There are other occultists, both current, so after Crowley and before Crowley, that deserve much, much, much more praise than they're getting, and they deserve all the praise that Crowley's getting. So, have you heard Hermes usurped Thoth? Hermes T was his apprentice. No, I've not heard that. What's your source on that? How did Hermes usurp Thoth? Awesome, thanks. You're welcome. Hey, Sweetie Pooh Rebel. What's up, Jungle Juice? I love Joshin, naturally. Gambulin, misbehaving. Thank you so much. And I have plenty now. I'll spare some hair. Well, thank you. I need it. I need it. What is the logos? The word. The word, capital W. The big word. The word on the street. The word on the celestial streets. Or maybe heaven wouldn't have streets. Heaven seems fancy, so they'll have avenues and boulevards, not streets. Streets are ghetto. Guess I'll have to always keep my ancestry to myself. Someone's going to see my initiations as racist. Yeah, probably. And that's unfortunate. It sucks that we have to think that way and, take those precautions. How do I purchase your services, Rebel? Well, right now you're not able to purchase anything. Something's wrong with my website. I don't know what's going on. It shows me that I have content, but it won't display, so I don't know what's going on. WordPress is absolutely junk. I'm probably gonna have to switch to something else like Squarespace or something. So as of right now, you're not able to until I figure out why it shows all the content that I have on my website, like on the back end. But when I open up a new tab and go to, it's like, oh, well, you've got nothing here. Do you perform divination on the spell before spellcasting, like on whether you should or shouldn't? Well, not on whether you should or shouldn't. You should be doing a divination to determine if your spell is going to be a success or not. And you do that by doing a divination on, say, for example, it's a target, right? You're trying to affect someone, whether it's a positive effect or a negative effect, right? You should do a divination. That'll determine whether or not that person has protection, right? And like, you might think, well, I know that they don't practice. Well, just because they don't practice doesn't mean a significant other doesn't practice. Doesn't mean a friend doesn't practice, or a brother or a sister, or mom, dad, grandma. Doesn't mean someone else that's in their life that finds them important and that loves them doesn't practice. So you always want to do a divination to foresee any roadblocks, right? Things that might hinder your spell or ritual from becoming a success. If you're not doing it on anybody, if you're doing it on yourself, then that becomes all the more important, because whatever it is that you're casting the spell for, I'm sure you certainly want that to come about, right? You want the result. So if there are roadblocks that are going to prevent that spell from manifesting, it would probably be good to know them ahead of time so you can knock them down and then go on about doing the spell. Paxton, what's up, brother? Thank you for the roses. Hope you're having a happy Friday. Thank you for the roses. Isn't that crazy? Isn't what crazy? Like the Eminem of white magic. The Eminem? You mean the rapper Eminem? Because you put Eminem like the candy. So I'm trying to figure out what you mean. Crowley was super popular in Hollywood. What do you mean by that? Crowley was super popular in Hollywood. What do you mean by that? Bro, why do they keep pausing my John? Stop. Like, what is that? They keep pausing my shit and freezing it out of nowhere. Like, what's up? I'm on Wi-Fi. Like, what's up? Is this Mercury retrograde finally getting at me? Like, stop it. But what was I? Divination. Someone asked a question about divination and scrying. Yes, you can see things if you're scrying. Divination, in and of itself, it depends. Scrying can be considered a form of a divination. But for divination in and of itself, it depends on the methodology that you're using. In most divinatory systems, you're probably not going to see much of anything. It'll be more impressions, or if you do quote unquote see something, it's because your subconscious is showing you an image that would most likely be closely associated to whatever sort of symbolism you're trying to interpret. Whether that's runes, whether that's bones falling in a certain position, whether that's tarot, whether that's Owam, it just depends. As a person named Heaven, yes, I am fancy. Your name is Heaven. Well, that makes sense because you're heavily, heavenly, heavenly. Well, there you go. Heavily, heavenly, heavenly. That sounds like a name of a New York Times best-selling book. Like, I'm excited to find out who I am and where I came from, to find out not everyone is the same. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks, but that's the world we live in, unfortunately. I just hope heaven doesn't have advertisement. You don't want ads in heaven? God needs to pay the bills. How is he going to pay the bills? Right? Subscription fees. You have to subscribe. You have to pay monthly. Like, come on. I just popped in to tell you that the worst witch is the worst. I got into it with her. I don't blame you, Paxton. I don't blame you. She blocked me. Right after she got out of the chat, or right after she got done out of the debate, if you want to call it that, she sent me a message. She said at first, what did she say? She said, our practices are different and something. And then she was like, actually, you know what? I don't want to talk to you ever again. And then just blocked me. So I was like, oh, okay, I never plan on talking to you ever again. You hit me up. I didn't hit you up. So, but yeah, I don't blame you for getting into it with her, but, good luck. I just got here. Well, welcome, Kushcat. Welcome. I need to write that down. Do a divination first. Yes, you should. I highly recommend it. And it's highly recommended in most occult systems. At least it used to be. Nowadays you rarely see it in modern day occult books, like the kind of books that you can just walk into your local Barnes and Noble or Second and Charles and just grab off the shelves. The Llewellyn published books. No offense to them. Sometimes I do mean offense to them. But in this case, I don't really mean any offense to them. It's not their fault. It's the author's fault. But yeah, we need to put that back in the books. $100% makes sense. Thanks. You're welcome. You're welcome. What can I say but you're welcome? Internet is not interneting. Yeah, I don't know. It keeps doing that every few minutes, and I'm on Wi-Fi, so I don't know. Mercury said, don't think you're too good to feel this energy. Yeah, I know, right? It's like, oh, you want to brag about not having any problems, huh? TikTok is losing interest in itself because of the new laws. Yeah, it sucks. It really does suck. especially because the bulk of my audience is here. It's not like, I've got 20,000 here, 20,000 on Instagram, 20,000 on Facebook, 20,000 on YouTube, right? My audience is here. So if TikTok goes the way of MySpace, that would suck. That would really, really suck. Hermes, draw near and let Rebel cook for us. Amen. Streamers who speak truth always have stuff happen in their lives. Yeah. I feel like everybody has stuff happen in their lives, but I see what you mean. Why is the New Age trash? The New Age is trash because they are promoting, selling, and profiting off of extremely, severely watered down, legitimate, occult, esoteric, and mystical traditions, systems, and religions. But the problem is that the vast majority of the people promoting, profiting, and selling these things don't know it, right? They think that the origin is whatever they're practicing, right? They have no idea that before them, whatever it is that they're practicing comes from something, and that something deserves to be studied, so that way you can be better informed on whatever it is that you're practicing today. If you don't know where you came from, you have no idea what you're doing, and you have no idea where you're going. You might think you do, but if you, for lack of a better word, get over yourself, not you specifically, but New Agers, if you get over yourself and actually do some research to prove yourself correct or incorrect, I think that's what people are afraid of. They're afraid of proving themselves incorrect because they don't want to then have to realize that, the last 3 years of me doing these New Age things was a waste of time. You wasted 3 years. I think a lot of people can't handle that. But if you actually took the time to prove yourself right or wrong and looked into the history of these New Age practices, you're not going to find much because there is no history of the New Age practice. The history is in the occult. And the occult requires work, which I think is another thing that scares people away. Nobody wants to work. Everybody just wants to close their eyes and meditate for 30 seconds and boom, you're instantly spiritual. God loves you and you're now this high vibrational super Kamehameha God Lord. And unfortunately, nothing else in life works like that. Why would spirituality? It doesn't. You got to work for it. And people don't want that, right? They don't want to work. The New Age promises quick, easy, fast, right? Just like pretty much life now, right? What was it? WAP 2.0. WAP 2.0. If anybody remembers that. That was the first edition that was commercially released for mobile internet back on flip phones, where you could only really get weather, sports scores, and stock quotes. That's all you could get. You couldn't go to Google. You couldn't go to, you wasn't going on Facebook and Instagram. Those things didn't exist, right? WAP 2.0, that wasn't fast enough, right? We needed it faster. So then they came out with the generations, right? They came out with 2G. Wasn't fast enough. We needed 3G. That wasn't fast enough. 3G plus wasn't fast enough. 4G, not fast enough. 4G LTE, not fast enough. Now we have 5G and 5G plus. That's not fast enough. People want the Internet of Things. That's not going to be fast enough. Then we need it in our brain so we can just instantly download it to our brains. We want everything instantly, right? Don't got to cook anymore. Pull out your phone and order food and it'll be here in 20 minutes, right? We want things instantly. And people are trying to treat their spirituality in the same way. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. That's why the New Age is trash. Is there a hell in Hermeticism? No. What does the afterlife look like in reincarnation? In Hermeticism. Reincarnation? Reincarnation is a possibility, but that should not be the goal. The goal is theosis, a return to origin, a return to God. Her name says it all. The worst witch? Yeah. Clapper is the move if TikTok goes. Clapper? I've never heard of Clapper. Is that like a Rumble alternative or something? I've never heard of Clapper. Does anybody remember D Live? It was supposed to be like YouTube, but like built on like the blockchain, and it didn't really do well. I think it was because they didn't really have any marketing dollars. Because they were kind of like a Rumble. If they just put some money behind marketing to the right markets, to the right target audience, they would have done something. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you for the roses. Good evening. What's up, Chaos Meme Magic? What is astral projection exactly? Using the astral body or the light body, whatever you want to call it, to leave the physical and journey through the astral plane to various realms, worlds, dimensions to do work or just to travel. It's probably one of the few things in the occult that you can do just to see if it like works. The rituals are happening everywhere. What rituals are happening everywhere? Did I miss something? Did you say something before? Let me see. No. So why are you just randomly, just out of nowhere, saying the rituals are happening everywhere? Turn Project. What rituals are happening everywhere? Fast food occult. Yes, fast food occultism. And I'm not saying magic can't be practical. It certainly can be. It doesn't have to be high ceremonialism any of the time. I was going to say all the time, but it doesn't have to be that any of the time. But it's also not just close your eyes, hope, wish, and dream, and you're done, right? Like the New Age wants you to do. Oh, well, get your manifestation journal and write down your dreams, and that's cool, but that's not going to bring you your dreams. What brings you your dreams is you getting out and doing the work to make your dreams a reality. And then you can use magic to assist in that, right? But that's it. It requires work, and people don't like that. So, you think I want to work? You think I want to? I don't, but we have to. I don't think people even stop to think there's people in other countries who still practice their traditions. Yeah, no, they don't. Especially here in the US. We've got blinders on. We're narrow. We got a tunnel vision. Hello, how are you doing tonight? I'm doing well, corporate. I hope you're doing well as well. The more practitioners, the better. I agree. The more people we have practicing occult systems, I think the world would be better off. Should know what the frequency does from 2G to 5G. They're not updating for us. They're updating control. I don't agree with that, but that's cool. Thank you for the heart. La Forza. Thank you. Appreciate that. La Forza Wellness. Thank you. Has someone asked you about your beliefs about Jesus Christ already? Yes, they have. I was told the Grimorium Verum is the best demonic money magic spell book. I might try it. Sure. Good luck. Sure. I hope that if you do it, you're going to do it the right way, which is the original way. There is a shortcut, but you got to find that for yourself. So good luck. And that includes, the vellum. You know how to make vellum, right? You know what you got to do that, right? It's in the text, what you're going to have to do that. That's required. So, unless you take the shortcut, which you have to figure that out for yourself. Apparently, Worst Witch hates Masons. I don't blame, and Worst Witch is an interesting character, as we all saw last week. So, have you read any of Diane Fortune? Yes, I'm a big fan of Diane Fortune's Applied Magic. I think her Applied Magic is a fantastic book, especially chapter, at least in my edition, which is a badly edited edition. But in my edition, it's chapter 4, paragraph 3, where she takes a huge, warm, wet, milky diarrhea all over the New Age. Oh, it was great. Fantastic. I like Diane Fortune. She's a little dated. You know, some of the things she says is a little racist. But when it comes to actual magical technique and practice, I don't have an issue with Dion, whatever her name is. I mean, that wasn't her name, but the name she decided to go under. Is astral projection dangerous in and of itself? No. You can get into dangerous situations when astral projecting, but astral projection in and of itself is not dangerous, no. It is simply another method of astral travel. That is all. Damon Brand books are pretty practical, yeah, but Magick is much more than that. Magick is much more than the Gallery of Magic books. Magick goes much deeper. Thank you for the heart. Magick goes much deeper, reaches much further. You're not going to come into any revelations through Damon Brand's system. You're not going to have any insights. You're not going to communicate with any spirits on any veritable level through the works of Damon Brand and the Gallery of Magic. Damon Brand might be good if you're skeptical of magic and you don't want to spend many months, if not quite a few years, perfecting grimoire tradition or something like that, spending thousands of dollars getting all the tools and stuff like that, only to find out, you know, it's not working or whatever. So Brand might be a good option for people who want to prove it to themselves and not have to spend too much money or, you know, do too much work. But you're not going to get much further than that. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to add to that. You won't go any further than that on Brand stuff. Any books on astral projection that I can read? Yeah, I like Between the Gates by Mark Stavish. The secondary title is probably more in line with what you're looking for. So it's Between the Gates, Lucid Dreaming, Astral Projection, and the Body of Light in Western Esotericism. This is a good one. Thomas Carlson's Astral Projection is good. That's on this bookshelf over here. Where is it? I'm sorry, guys. I don't know why that keeps happening. I'm gonna... Hold on. Let me get back to the circle. And let me take it off Wi-Fi. Let me just use 5G. And see if that fixes the problem. Let me get off the Wi-Fi. That fixes the problem. All right. So somebody was asking about astral projection books. I showed Mark Stavish's Between the Gates, and I went to go get this book for an astral projection by Thomas Carlson. I'm only going to show the spine because the front cover has a woman who is not clothed, and it shows body parts. So I'm not going to show that, but I'll just show the astral projection, and it's by Thomas Carlson. Sorry, Thomas Carlson. So you can get that as well. Also, lucid dreaming and scrying are extremely related to astral projection, to the point where the techniques are interchangeable. So you can use the techniques that you use for one to do the other. So here's a good book on lucid dreaming. A Field Guide to Lucid Dreaming is good. And then I hesitate to recommend this one because everyone says it's super expensive, even though mine was only $30. Enochian Scrying Tarot is also really good if you're interested in astral projection, lucid dreaming, stuff like that. So those 4 books should help you out. Show us your altar. I have work on my altar right now, and so I would not be able to show my altar while there's work on there. Show us your book of spells. I don't have my own personal book of spells. I'm a ritual magician, grimoire tradition. Okay, another fake as expected. I'm sorry you feel that way. Sorry you feel that way. I love Fortune. You're so cool. Yes, I saw some racism in her novels that was disappearing. I think you meant disappointing, but yeah. Specifically, I remember in Mystical Kabbalah, she made some nonsensical remarks about the different races. You're getting a lot of gifts tonight. I know, it's fantastic, but I give it back. I think the last time I withdrew was like in 2022. I just give back whenever I'm on another person's live, and I like what they're saying. I just give back. I cringe whenever I hear the Gallery of Magic. Yeah, I mean, people do have to start somewhere, but I don't know. Not everybody can go as deep and, be as foundational as I want to be, so I get that. That being said, those books did prove to me that magic works, so I do have a bit of respect for Gallery of Magic. Yeah, see, that's why that's probably the only good thing I think that could come out of them. If you want to, like I was saying earlier, if you want to try it out and not have to spend, Grimtrad money, then it's a good way to, test out the waters. What's up, Manwich? What's going on? I was asking about the books. Yes. Hopefully you saw the rest of my answer there. Yes, Damon Brand's work is just reworked occultism, available whenever else or whatever else with Dark Alpha vibe. I don't know if I would say Damon Brand's stuff is dark. I mean, maybe like the Demons of Magic is dark, but most of his stuff is pretty good, like angel stuff and money stuff and love stuff. At least off the top of my head, I can only really think of Demons of Magic that would be negative or evil. I feel like you're probably talking more like an E.A. Coetting, right? E.A. Coetting with his works of darkness and baneful magic and the Book of Azazel and his Become a Living God type of thing. I think that's very edgelordy and that's very high school goth. Oh, look at me, it's 1998 and I hang out outside of Hot Topic wearing, parachute pants, but they're black, and there's chains hanging off everywhere, and I've got a, I don't know, Megadeth shirt or Behemoth shirt or something like that. So look at me, I'm so cool. My parents told me to do this, but I'm not going to do that because I'm 14 and all this other nonsense. Yeah, E.A. Coetting is probably more along those lines, other than Damon Brand, or rather than Damon Brand, I should say. Thank you for the books. You're welcome. Concerning the daggers, can you sub the cat blood and gosling blood for something else? Do you mean for the Virum? These are the shortcuts. You got to find it for yourself. I'll give you one hint. JSK. That's the only hint I'll give you. What is divination scrying? What it does, etc. Is it difficult to do? Didn't we already go over this? Divination is using a divinatory system or a fortune-telling system to identify issues, problems, solutions, anything like that for a situation. Or, I think a situation could cover pretty much any category that I'd want to use. So to determine situational intelligence. I guess intelligence gathering is a good way to describe it, at least from the context of spellcasting. You can look at it as fortune telling, but from the context of spellcasting, I would look at it as intelligence gathering. Getting as much information about your target or about your situation before embarking on any magical work. As for is it difficult to do, as we discussed earlier, it depends on the methodology that you use. I started with Kabbalah Magick and Modern Magick, a good place to start. I highly recommend Modern Magick by the late great DMK, Donald Michael Craig, fantastic gentleman. I'm not familiar with Kabbalah Magick though. I'm not familiar with that one. Theory, the gods of mythology of the different, or I think you're saying the gods of mythology are the different variants of the one god. I mean, in some cases, but I have a hard time agreeing with that. At least outside of Mediterranean religions. Because there are deities that exist in other cultures that don't exist. Like there's no deity for that thing within certain Mediterranean religions that would exist elsewhere. And since I practice a religion that comes from the Mediterranean, I would not agree with that. But I can see how some people would think that. But no, I would disagree with that theory. I think I mixed up Damon Brand with that guy on YouTube. Well, which guy? Because EA Coetting is no longer on YouTube, and he probably will never be allowed back on YouTube. So he's on here. He goes live a lot on here, but he's not on YouTube anymore. Yes, EA Coetting. I mixed him up with Damon Brand. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know about like re-uploads, like other people uploading EA Coetting's work, but he himself, he should not be on YouTube. He was banned by YouTube after that Daniel Hussein debacle a few years ago. Was that 4 or 5 years ago now? Have you seen a show called Strange Angel? It's based on Jack Parsons' occult adventures. I've heard of it. I've not watched it, but I have heard of it. JSK equals Jake Stratton Kent, the true grimoire. That is correct. Can I also use can I also use a normal calligraphy pen, or does it need to be a quill from Uno? Excuse me. I would do my best to stay as close to the text as you can. If you're going to substitute, you need to understand correspondences. So what is the pen supposed to represent? Right? What is the usefulness of the pen, and what is its function and purpose within the ritual? And then using a correspondence, would you be able to replace it? You seriously need to chase these fakes on TikTok, especially those tarot readers. Well, I feel like within occultism, there's a lot of people already doing that, right? Within the occult, there's already other occultists who are lambasting fake occultists, but no one, or not no one, very, 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 very few, especially on this app, people. I can only identify three of us that are doing this. Very few people are going after the New Agers, the paranormal researchers, and the occult conspiracy theorists, which in my mind is a bigger market from their side, not from my side. As you can see, with only 20,000 followers. I think that is a much more detrimental issue. People believing nonsense. and spreading that nonsense. At least the tarot readers aren't promoting anything. They're not pushing any sort of agenda or belief system, right? And at least on this app, most of it is free, especially the speed readers. But the New Agers are lying to you, and they're lying to you while taking your money. So I have a problem with that. So yeah, I feel like there's ample people within the occult community doing their best to correct nonsense within the occult community, but nobody is correcting the nonsense with the New Age, paranormal, and occult conspiracy communities. So, why does this keep moving? Let me scroll back up here. Joe, would you tell us how you experience demons and spirits? What do they look like and feel? Sorry about that. Would you tell us how you experience demons and spirits? I experience them within my scrying device. I mean, unless I'm doing an astral journey, I experience them within my scrying device. So they'll either be on this table of practice here, or this table of practice. And here, I'll show you how I set it up. Not this one. Let me use this one. Since it's nighttime, there's no sunlight, I don't have to worry. Sorry about that. Alright, put that there. Make sure it's not outside of the triangle. Okay. I don't have my gloves. We'll use this. So I don't have to touch the stone and get fingerprints all over it. Come on, get on my hand. Hold on. It's hard to put this on with one hand. Okay. Put that over here. Put that on there. Alright, please don't fall when I pick you up. Oh my god, this is gonna fall. Alright. So, essentially it would look like this. Right? On the table of practice, sitting on its base, and then you can see the crystal sphere here. And I would have, candles on each side, and I would begin to perform invocations and get myself into an altered state of consciousness. Once I'm in an altered state, I would then begin, depending on who I'm contacting, maybe I'll have my HGA present, maybe not. But assuming I don't, I would then begin evoking. So I would begin reading the evocations or reciting the actual evocations and repeating them until the spirit makes an appearance. If they don't, then I would try to use an intermediary. And if I still can't get them, then, we pack up and try again another day. But if I do get them, then I proceed with conversation. Whatever that may entail, whether it's asking for something, whether it's wanting information, whether it's, wanting to be introduced to a spirit higher than it or something along those lines. Yeah, but that's how it essentially is performed at my altar on my table of practice, either this one or the other one. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Now I gotta put this back. One second. Do watch Dr. Justin Sledge with the host on YouTube channel Esoterica. If so, what's your opinion? Yes, I love Dr. Sledge. I highly recommend him and his work. Every video he puts out is fantastic. I've pretty much seen everything he's done over the last couple years. Oh, no. Okay, sorry. Yes, I highly recommend him. As well as his contemporaries. So Dr. Angela Puka over at Angela Symposium, Mr. Mythos, Religion for Breakfast, The Modern Hermeticist. These are all good channels for legitimate occultism, esotericism, and mysticism. Although the only ones that are going to focus on occultism is going to be Angela and Dr. Sledge, Dr. Puka and Dr. Sledge. Everyone else focuses on esotericism and mysticism. Dr. Sledge and Angela are the only ones that are going to go into any legitimate occult systems. Are angels beneficial to work with? They can be, but so can demons. Just depends on what you're looking for. What are you looking to get out of this relationship? But so can demons. Just depends on what you're looking for. What are you looking to get out of this relationship? All right, I don't know what's going on with this, John. Every 20 minutes, this thing want to jack up. Oop. I didn't want to make it a square again. There we go. And turn it. There we go. Turn it like that. There we go. I don't know what's going on with this thing. This is ridiculous. Every 20 minutes, this thing want to jack up. Come on. Is this Mercury? I apologize for bragging that I had no issues. Okay? So stop with all this nonsense. All right, let me scroll up here. All right. Can you give some examples of what? What are you looking for examples of? Man, I missed out this past Tuesday. No problem. We'll be back again next Tuesday. No problem. You only missed the first 4 chapters, so not much. And the good stuff hasn't even come yet. The good stuff doesn't happen until deeper in the book. Rebel's doing a fantastic job at what he's doing within his capacity to help spread the word. Well, thank you very much, Issa. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. And yes, this is very important work to me. Having a legitimate foundation for your spiritual practice is, in my opinion, extremely important. Or else you may not have a legitimate practice, and that kind of sucks. So, because you're doing all these spiritual things for literally nothing. It does nothing for you. So, I think this is pretty important work. Do you see them with your eyes or... Wait, excuse me. Do you see them with your eyes on? Your eyes on or within the tables or in your mind's eye? So, I see them with my eyes, but not like they're not physically present. They're within the scrying device. So my third eye is of course open and I'm using my third eye. But it's like a, I don't know how to describe it. Transposition or something like that. I don't know. I'm not no scientist or whatever. My eyes are open. My physical eyes are open. I don't know how to describe it. Transposition is the only thing that keeps coming to my mind, but I don't know if that's the proper word. I use my third eye to actually do the seeing, quote unquote, but my physical eyes are open and I'm gazing into the scrying device. So yeah, transposition is the only thing that's coming into my mind. From the mind's eye into the physical. That's the only way that makes sense for me to describe it. I hope that makes sense. Do you have any good recommendations on energy work? Yes, Maya Ohm. Maya Ohm. Both of her books. Get both of her books. She only wrote 2. So no need to give you titles because she only wrote 2. So go on Amazon and type in Maya, M-Y-A, space O-M, Maya Ohm. and buy both her books. You should be able to get both of them for less than $20 each, not together less than $20, but less than $20 each. It's like $14.99, $15.99, $19.99, something like that each. So. Did you make your own table of practice? No. These are from Rufus Opus and his student Sam Block, Polyphanes. I got the Polyphanes one first. That was from like 9 years ago when we first met. The Rufus Opus one is a little more recent, about 3 years ago. You got good recommendations on books for connecting to your HGA? Yeah, I like Michael Cittitelli's Holy Guardian Angel and Frater Chasson, Frater Ashen Chasson, Brian Ashen, Holy Damon. Yes, he wrote Holy Damon, right? Yes, or was that Frater Acker? I was getting mixed up. One of them wrote Holy Damon, and then the other wrote Gateways Through Stone and Circle and Gateways Through Light and Shadow, and I always get them mixed up. Whichever one wrote Holy Damon is the book you want. So you want Holy Guardian Angel and Holy Damon. I think it was Frater Acker now that I think about it. I think Ashen Shashan wrote Gateways Through Stone and Circle and Gateways Through Light and Shadow. Dr. Sledge can be a pain when he says he ain't a practitioner. At least he's honest, though. I mean, I don't think he's lying. It's Dr. Puka that upsets me because she won't talk about it. Like people will ask her and she goes, oh guys, I just, we just talk about the academic stuff here. I'm like, okay, but are you though? Like, I think you are. I think she is. I think she's a strega. But that's just me. I could be way off. She could not do any of it and be a Christian, but I doubt it. I think she is an occultist and I think she's a strega. But is working with the Goetia a bad idea for a novice? I would say so. I would not recommend that. Is he buffering for anyone else or is it just me? No, it's for everybody. I don't know what's going on with TikTok. I was watching Parker earlier. I was watching Parker for like 2 hours. No issues, no problem. So I don't, and I went from both mobile and Wi-Fi. And so I don't know. Like my mobile says 5G and I got 4 bars out of 5. So I don't know. And then my Wi-Fi was of course full bars. So I'm not sure what's going on. It's gotta be Mercury giving me shit. It's gotta be Mercury like, oh, you want to brag? Brag about this. So. Jacking my shit up. What are your book recommendations on spell crafting? For making your own spells, I don't know. I don't find there to be too many books specifically on crafting your own spells. I find most books might have a chapter or two on that. I mean, Maya Ohm kind of teaches you how to do that in her 2 books. Maybe Matt Aron as well in his 2 books, Psychic Witch and Mastering Magic. More so Mastering Magic. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you can get a firm understanding on occult correspondences, you'll be able to formulate your own spells. As long as you understand occult correspondences and you have a firm understanding on the structure of a spell, the structure of a ritual, you'll be able to formulate your own. You don't really need a whole book on spell crafting in and of itself. Just have a thorough understanding of occult correspondences. So that way, when you are making your spell, you know what tools and ingredients you need just based off, just knowing the correspondences. I promise you, it'll just fall into place. Because you'll want to do a love spell, and if you know correspondences, then you'll start to Remember all the things that you learned about that deal with love, right? Any herbs that deal with love, any stones that deal with love, right? Candle colors, what planet deals with love, what element deals with love, so on and so forth. And the next thing you would need from there is the structure. What format does a general spell look like? And then as long as you have those two things, it'll just fall into place. It has no choice but to fall into place unless you just don't have a brain, which you have a brain. So, because you smart. I know you smart. What kind of ceremony can I do with cinnamon and honey? Well, honey is used to sweeten a situation or a person. So like a honey jar. Cinnamon is used for action. I mean, I guess you can use it for curse work too. Hot. But cinnamon is usually used for action to get people to do something. So I don't know what you could use honey and cinnamon for in the same kind of a thing. Maybe maybe like if you wanted, to like sweeten your boss to you, you put him in a honey jar, or you'd make a honey jar for him, and then maybe you could add cinnamon because you not only want him to be sweet or her to be sweet to you, and not in a adult fun time way, but like just be more nice to you, respect you. Maybe you want a promotion as well or something like that. And you need to kick him into action to do that. Cinnamon could do that, but I don't know. I would probably use two separate jars for that. I don't know. But yeah, off the top of my head, I can't think of anything to do with honey and cinnamon like together. When you're scrying and you see something, how do you know it's not your mind playing tricks on you? Well, so you should have already curbed all that once you're able to get into an altered state. You should be able to quiet your mind and everything like that. You wouldn't be able to get into an altered state if your mind is like sending you random images and stuff like that. You have to know how to quiet your mind and focus on a singular thing, which is the scrying or the astral projection or whatever, in order to achieve it accurately and properly. So if your mind is wandering and you have all these, then it's just not gonna work because you need to be focused. So, not to say that it's impossible, we're human beings, right? But a lot of that should be dealt with before you even get to the point of seeing anything. Oops. Good to know I haven't missed out on the good stuff. Gotta start taking out my book on Tuesdays. Yes, please. Yes, please. What's good to practice for a spiritual practice? Occultism? Can you explain the foundation of one's spell work? Generally, energy. Unless you use the spirit model, then it's the spirit. So a foundation means what does your work rest on, right? So for a spell, the work rests on your ability to manipulate energy, or it rests on your ability to conjure and command or make a deal with the spirit. So I really can't think of any other. Those are the only two. At least here in the West. I don't know what goes on over in China and Russia and stuff like that. But here in the West, it's you're either the spirit model or you're the psych model, and the psych model is energy. So all praise to glory, or excuse me, all praise and glory to the Lord Jesus Christ and God. Hallelujah. Well, thank you for that. There's definitions for how scrying works on a psychological point of view, but I can't think of it at the moment. Oh, really? Yeah, I'm not familiar with the psych model because, as you guys know, I'm not part of the psych model. I follow spirit model. What's the psych model for? Oh, well, you said you can't think of it at the moment. But yeah, if you do remember, let me know. I'm not familiar with the psychological model of Magick when it comes to scrying. I wonder how they would view that. Can ghosts be seen through a camera, or is it only through our eyes? I do not believe ghosts can be seen through a camera. The best you can hope for is infrared. Infrared, you might be able to get energy imprints and see some things, but yeah, no. So that means all your little and I don't mean you specifically, but like all the ghost boxes, all the spirit boxes, all the whatever you can get on ghosthunting.com, nonsense. No need for it. Open your third eye for free. No need to go spend $200 on the latest ghost box from the Ghost Bros on HGTV, or whatever. Do it for free. Open your third eye. So. It was a rabbit hole I accidentally found during one of my 3 a.m. half asleep perusing. Perusing. I loved how you spell it too. Perusing. I like that. That reminds me of something, and it just left me. It brought something in my mind, and just as quickly as it entered, it left. Damn. Perusing. Perusing. Come on, remember. I can't remember. Can this stuff be learned joining Freemasonry? I wouldn't suggest it. Freemasons as a whole do not practice or teach occultism. There might be individual Freemasons that might be into the occult, but as a whole, as a organization or as a lodge, no. So I wouldn't go into Freemasonry expecting to learn magic. You're going to learn Freemasonry. If you get lucky and find a lodge that has a magical practitioner or a few, then great. But for the most part, you're not. So I wouldn't rest on that. I would just find an occult group, like an actual occult coven or order, or sometimes they call themselves lodges, depending on what kind of group it is. Temple or church or circle or associate or grove or whatever. But not a Freemason lodge, no. Not the Freemasons. I don't know if I can get behind the planets being spirit guides. It doesn't compute. What do you mean? Who says that the planets are spirit guides? Who said that? That sounds like some New Age nonsense. Okay. What about, or how about books that have legit spells to perform? Techniques of High Magic, Modern Magic, Techniques of Greco-Egyptian Magic, Techniques of Solomonic Magic, Grimoires, all the Grimoires, well, not all of them, but a vast majority of the Grimoires have spells in them. Hoodoo Justice Magic, Grimoire for the Green Witch. Do rituals count? Not spells, but rituals? Because if so, all the Conjure Codexes, all the Sabbaticas, so what? That's 8 books in Sabbatica, no, 12 books in the Sabbatica series, 5 books in the Conjure Codex series, so all them. Sorcery of Solomon, tarot spells, Blackthorn spells for protection. That's all I can see from over here. What about this shelf here? Yeah, all the Mark Allen Smith books, The Altar of Sacrifice, Crown Prince of the Sabbath. Yeah, all the Mark Allen Smith books, The Altar of Sacrifice, Crown Prince of the Sabbath. Right. Right. So tight. All right. Excuse me. Who bred with humans like it's explained in the Book of Enoch? That was the Nephilim, or the Watchers, excuse me. From a book I have, cinnamon can be used in scrying. It enhances psychic abilities too. Really? Cinnamon? I did not know that about cinnamon. About cinnamon. I don't know why I couldn't say that right. And all your facts on honey are right too. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I do practice hoodoo. What does dreams of Anubis mean? In this dream, he was a protector and protecting me. I don't practice dream interpretation, so I don't know. I would recommend getting a dream dictionary, kind of like this one, and taking a look, getting a dream dictionary, and taking a look, seeing what it says. I do not practice dream interpretation. Excuse me. I see tins. I can't explain the sides of my eyes on a normal and when practicing those spirits. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. You may have to restate or rephrase. I see tins. I can't explain by the sides of my eyes on a normal and when practicing those spirits. I don't know what that means. Are spirit guides and HGA the same thing? No. No. Not at all. Greetings, Mystic Rebel. What's up? What's up? If you could only read one book, what would you suggest? That's probably not a good question for me, because I practice occultism as a religion. So I'm going to choose a religious book over an occult book. So that's probably not a good question for me. I'm going to choose the Corpus Hermeticum, which is a book on religion and, well, philosophy more than religion, which you're not going to get any occult teachings or anything out of that. So I'm probably not the best person to ask. What was this Sabbatica series you mentioned? Never heard of it. Oh yeah, Sabbatica. Compiled by Edgar Kervel. I've got volumes 1, 4, and 6, I think. I don't know where 6 is. Probably over there on that side. 6 is a paperback. 1 and 4 are hardbacks. Where is 6? Oh, there it is. I see it. One second. Yeah, so the Sabbatica series is an anthology series on necromancy by Edgar Kervel. This is book 1, Sabbatica. You can see right there it says Sabbatica. Or actually, maybe I should do the mirror thing. There we go. So, there we go, Sabbatica. Right, this is volume 1. Here, let me to the title page. So, Sabbatica, The Seas of Death and the Arcana of Deathbringer. And it's as compiled by Edgar Kervel. So it's an anthology on necromancy. So every chapter is by a different author. Here's an example of the table of contents. You can see it's written by different authors. Got Sean Woodward, S. Ben Kayan, who I hate. Nikolaj de Matters Frisvold, who I love. I don't know who that person is. Hermetic Asenath, or Aeon 131. Don't know who that is. Lostjaw Lorbertson. I do know who that is. That's what's his fucking name? I forget like his online name, but I know who he is. Edgar Kervel, Claudia, Andrew, and there's more on the right. Every chapter is by a different author, but it's all on necromancy. So that's volume 1. This is volume 4. Volume 4 looks a little different. It's because it's from a different publishing company. So this is Sabbatica volume 4. This first one was from Nephilim Press, which isn't really doing so good these days. This one is from Edgar Kervel's own publishing company, Sirius Esoterica Limited. And then this one, I think, was also from Sirius. No, this one's from Zos House. So he just goes through a bunch of different publishers, because I think there's like 12 of them now. This is number 6, Sabbatica Volume 6. So, and these are all on necromancy. This one you can see the authors right on the front. Edgar Kerval, Bill Duvendak, Sean Woodward, and more. Not a fan of Bill Duvendak a lot. He used to run with E.A. Coetting before they had a falling out. Not really a fan of him, but whatever. Beggars can't be choosers. And not a lot of people are writing on necromancy, so... Take what we can get. This buffering is mad annoying. Yeah, I know. I don't know what's going on. Whether I'm on Wi-Fi or whether I'm on data. I don't know what's going on. But I'm only going to be on for like another 7 minutes. And it seems to happen every 20 to 25 minutes. So it shouldn't happen again in the next 7 minutes. Sim, that synonym. What about honey? Somebody was asking how can they use honey and cinnamon in a magical context. And so I was telling them some of the uses that they can do it for. And then Issa took a look at some of her text to confirm. The best book for dream interpretation is the Book of Symbols, focuses on archetypal symbolism. There you go. Yeah, I have a few symbols books. I have the dream interpretation book. I have the correspondence book. What's that one? I've got the signs, the illustrated signs and symbols source book. So, what book would be your one go-to? As I said earlier, the Corpus Hermeticum. Are the things I only see at the corner of my eye spirits? Probably not. My mind would explode if I had to choose even 10 books. Really? I could probably do 10 if I could only bring 10 books with me. Once you have the basics down, you don't really need those types of books. In my opinion, you should only... I mean, I shouldn't say you should only. That's up to each individual person. For me, I would only bring philosophical books because I know, I mean, unless I'm old and senile, I know how to do magic, so I don't need more magic books. I know how to do magic. I know how to get in touch with all the spirits I need to get in touch with. If I had 10 books, I'd probably bring like one correspondence book, so that way I, can keep up with that and don't ever forget those things, since there's so much of that. But everything else I'd probably bring would be philosophical. Or at least mystical, more so than occult. A beautiful tome. Thank you. It's not the most beautiful. I think the most beautiful book I own is probably the Book of Flesh and Feather. That's probably the most beautiful book I own. Which kind of sucks because Asaya Luxa has that beautiful royal velvet. So that's nice. But that lightning blue or that electric blue with the gold, man, that's beautiful. Got any good online shops for ritual tools? Man, you would have loved the stream Wednesday night. That's what we were looking at Wednesday night. We were, I was live from my desktop, live from my PC, and we were, somebody had asked about something on Etsy. So we went on Etsy and we looked at some shops, and then I showed Athena's shop, like her actual website. Enochian.org is really good. Excuse me. But honestly, you should probably just go to Etsy. Off the top of my head, most of the shops I know are going to be hoodoo shops. So I don't know if that's what you're looking for. If you're looking for like ritual tools, like actual grimoire tradition or evocation rituals, other than Enochian.org, I would just go on Etsy. Buffering a lot? It's buffering again? It's not showing buffering on my side. Usually on my side, when it buffers, it just freezes. It'll just like freeze out. But don't worry, we only got a few more minutes. We only got like 4 minutes left, so. For attracting money, cinnamon, yes. The moolah. Stop that. Stop doing that. Okay, there we go. Theory, magic is just God's residue from when it made everything and everyone. Opinion? I don't agree with that. What do you mean by God's residue? And what would give us authority to utilize it? We also would love more lives on the Goetia. Okay, we can certainly do more lives on the Goetia. Yeah. When so I so when Quinn and I first started doing the Tuesday night readings, I wanted to start with actual grimoires. It was Quinn who suggested that we start at the very beginning and start with the three books. I thought that would get boring and no one's going to stay for the entire three books, but he felt it was really important to start at the very, very beginning. If I had my way, we would have started with like the Black Dragon or the Goetia, some actual grimoire that people want to actually get into. So hopefully we'll be able to get through this third book relatively quickly, and then we'll be able to dive into some actual grimoires. But yes, I can certainly get into some grimoires on my own during live streams, and the Goetia is definitely going to be one of them. Etsy has normal quills, not specific like the book requires, as in three feather or right wing. Well, so you would have to contact the magicians to do that. They might not sell that specifically, on their site. You might have to contact them and ask if they can procure such a thing. And then you have to determine if you trust them, right? If that they're telling you the truth, that yes, this is a three feather pen or whatever, and not just saying it, right? So, what nights do you go live? I only get notifications maybe twice a week, so I go live on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and so those days are guaranteed, Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And then depending on whatever I'm doing with friends, girlfriend, family, stuff like that, I'll go live Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, depending on what I have going on. If I have something going on in the evening on Saturday or Sunday, then I usually go live in the middle of the day. If I have stuff going on during the day, then I'll go live at night. If I have stuff going on both, then obviously I don't go live at all. So Tuesdays and Wednesdays are guaranteed. Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays are possibilities. I rarely go live on Mondays and Thursdays. I try to give myself those 2 days as like my break days. Oops. I don't know, just throwing out theories that pop in my head. No problem. Even the ink of the arts, for example, wouldn't be on Etsy. There are practitioners who sell ink, especially for Solomonic magic. You just got to know what you're typing in. I mean, if you just type in ink of the art, that's not going to bring up anything, right? But if you get creative with your keyword search, if you know anything about SEO and stuff like that, if you get creative with your keyword search, you should be able to find stuff. I wouldn't even search for any keywords, to be honest. I would just search up practitioners. So just type in something like Solomonic magic and then see who sells Solomonic stuff, right? And then from there, click on those stores and then click on, their wares and see if they have anything. And if they sell inks, they just don't have the one that you're looking for, contact them and see if they can make the ink or whatever. Excuse me. I'm looking forward to when you guys read more grimoires. Me too. I can't wait. Might need to get a commission. Oh, well, I mean, so whenever we get finished with the 3 books, yes, please do suggest stuff, because I do not want to dive back into another long drawn out text like this. I want to get right into grimoires, which is what it was supposed to have been. But it was his idea, so I let him take the lead. I have a binder for a grimoire, but I didn't start it yet. Life is busy. No problem. Thanks, Joe. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. All right. It is after 11. It's 11:02. So I'm going to get going. Also, and I don't want a fourth freeze up. I don't want a fourth buffer session. So this seems like a good place to hop out. So thank you guys for being here. Appreciate each and every one of you. Appreciate all the questions. Thank you for sticking it out with me with all these buffering issues. I don't know what's going on. It happens both on Wi-Fi and data. Don't know what it is, but hopefully tomorrow night, depending on what my girl want to do, maybe I'll be live. If not, then I'll see you guys Sunday. Hope you have a good Saturday. If you're doing anything for 420, hope you enjoy it. I know I will at the festival. And I can't go live because it's a 420 festival and, you know, the app won't allow it. The moment they see smoke, I'll be banned for life. So, yeah, I think that's it. Catch you guys in the next one. As always, seek the mysteries. Thanks, everybody. Peace.